Hi, and welcome along to the Weekend Roundup, the show where we round up all of the weekend's games. Of course, there was no Premier League games this weekend, but we still got a lot to talk about on the show. Joining me, we've got Flex, of course, Man United rep, Liverpool rep, AGT. We got Matisse, Chelsea. I don't know, where's Abby gone?
The pixels
is she
there,
okay?
so she must be here somewhere.
Oh,
there she is.
Send Chelsea down. Relegate the Blues. Send Chelsea down.
Only Everton and Man City as well. They're all blue.
They're all blue. It's just us.
Blue.
Any blues?
Yeah, from my perspective, send Chelsea down. Relegate the Blues. Why
Come
are
on.
you getting involved? City as well.
Appreciate you, Flex. Oh, City as well, yeah. City. No. City, get down. Yeah, get down.
Relegate the Blues. Send them down. Relegate the Blues. Send them down. Relegate the Blues.
What, you couldn't
send them down.
You couldn't get
Relegate the
an Everton
Blues.
fan on the channel. You couldn't get a City fan.
They've all been relegated.
Why is it just me here holding up the fort?
You're here to.
You're a cheat, and I hope you get relegated. Yeah, come on. Hey, wait. Nah.
Where's Ty when you need him?
Nah, we got the best tie.
Oh no, your tie was unbelievable.
Are you gonna give it to me?
What's here we call? Oh, here he is.
Come on, Ty.
Ty, tell him, man.
Ty, come in here,
Tell
man.
him.
Come on.
What should we
Wait.
do?
Tell him.
Tell it
You're
to
a
him.
cheat. How do you get relegated?
Yeah! Well done, Ty.
Relegate the Blues. Send Chelsea down.
Just send your invoice in, yeah?
That was iconic, to be fair.
Abby's back in
Morning.
the building. I didn't get to see you since.
Oh, we're going back.
Oh yeah. I
Yeah.
think so, but let's move on.
Are you okay though? Abby, are you okay? Are you okay?
Do you know
You okay,
what?
though?
The amount,
You got over it now.
the amount of people that have sung that to me since your show is actually absurd.
It's an iconic moment in DR
It's
history.
absurd.
You're
And
okay
Top
though?
there,
You're
mate.
okay.
Yeah, I'm good. I've recovered from my illness. I'm all good. And Mickey van der Ven's injury is apparently not as bad as thought.
Oh,
Just 4 months out.
So exactly. So maybe he'll be back over Christmas, and Vicario will be in the 10.
In the
but-
10, mate.
In the 10. But yeah, it is what it is. We had a little cooking session last week, didn't we?
Yeah, we
I
did.
let Matisse, have his moment in the sun. Also did cooking back a bit. Also cooked him on National Radio Friday. Let's not forget about that.
Yeah, man. Fresh trim though, so.
Yeah, fresh trim.
Yeah.
So
I rate it, man.
even though you are going to get relegated,
Fresh problems.
well, you know what? Let's start off with that because that's a big talking point at the moment. Actually, just before we get to that, we've got to the guys from Optimax.
Yes.
They're back again with another big one.
Back
Tell us
again.
back again.
Back again. Right, as you know, we have teamed up with Opta to be involved in their new player ratings feature, the Optimax and the Opta 5 games as part of this. As you already know, because you've heard this one before, but we're still going head to head, playing Optimax, where you have to correctly predict the player of the match in 5 of the Premier League fixtures. Last week, we picked from the WSL fixtures, so go and check how you did now if you were involved in that. This week, though, in the Optimax, we are looking at Luton versus Crystal Palace, Newcastle versus Chelsea. This man could have another issue when he goes up to St James's Park. Brentford versus Arsenal, Spurs Villa and Fulham Wolves. Now, if you correctly predict them all, Rob, there's been a rollover, right?
God.
We love a rollover on this show, don't we? Last week it was $7,000. But we've only gone and chucked another 5 bills onto it, give or take with the exchange rate. $7,500 is up for grabs now. And if no one wins it, it keeps rolling over. And no one's won it so far, that's why it keeps going up. You accumulate points throughout the weeks, and if you are in the top 5 overall leaderboard at the end of the season, $12,000. All right.
huge.
Which is a lot less than Chelsea paid to Eden Hazard's agent.
Way.
So you don't want to miss out on this.
Don't
one,
worry, I
as
don't
we
want to
said.
check that stat. I believe you.
Okay. Well, thanks. There's the
believe
first time for everything.
Yeah.
The Opta player rating, as we know, is a score out of 100. A bad game, you're looking at a 20. A decent game, a 60. If you get a goal or an assist, though, you're pushing the 70s and 80s and even 90s. Just scan the QR code. It's really simple, guys. It's on the screen right here. Just down there. And there is a link in the description if you're not really a QR code kind of person. But it's free to play. It's global. There's no age gap on it. You can jump in wherever you are in the whole world. All you have to do is sign up. So get involved. And of course, on Thursday, we will have our picks ready for you for
It'll
this
be
weekend.
interesting for these games. Yeah, it can be interesting, especially with a lot of injuries around. We're going to be talking a little bit about injuries coming up.
we
But
are.
first of all, we've got to start off with this big story that broke last week. I was really shocked, actually, when I saw it, that Everton docked 10 points.
Mad.
You normally get docked 9 points if you go into administration, which is seen as like a very serious punishment. So to get docked 10, even harsher, that shows you how hard the Premier League have come down on Everton for breaches of financial fair play. Everton, of course, are appealing against that. However, a lot of people have been saying, well, if they got docked 10 points for their breaches of financial fair play, what about Manchester City, who've got 115 charges against them at the moment that they're denying and they're fighting against? And also, what about Chelsea, who voluntarily submitted to the Premier League breaches? I mean, this is not even a...
That's when you know you've done something wrong, by the
Yeah,
way.
because I think
When
this
you're handing
is...
yourself in.
If I'm right with this one, Matisse, isn't it that the new owners came in and saw all these discrepancies and have voluntarily given this to the Premier League and said, hey, look, we can see that there was some serious breaches here, you know?
I think we did this with UEFA as well. We had to pay a little fine, but I'm personally not really that worried, to be honest. I feel like, obviously, we could look at the Everton situation, but it is a different situation. It was, profit and loss sustainability, FFP. They've been making record losses or losses that you're not allowed to make for year after year, so they were obviously penalised for that. Ours is paying agents. Do I look at the crime and think, am I shell-shocked? No. Am I perplexed? No. Would I say...
Why are you not?
Because I look at football in a way where I feel like a lot of clubs do this. I'm not saying every club does it, but we all know that there's...
It's cheating though, isn't it?
Yeah, I guess so. Paying agents.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Not guess so. It's cheating. If you've broken the rules.
Yeah.
If if the player in question, Hazard, right? Now, I remember at that time,
He was
there's
killing it, mate.
there's a lot of Arsenal fans who like...
Give it a rest. He said he was joining the Champions League winner. He wasn't joining Arsenal.
I'm not saying
He was
that
going to go to
went
Bayern.
I'm not saying that he would have went to Arsenal, but I'm just using the talk to say there were a lot of Arsenal fans saying, that'd be a great signing for Arsenal. He was linked, yeah? Well, obviously, they would have had no chance in getting him because, you broke the rules. You paid agents illegal fees to get the player to the club.
Yes,
If the rest of the owners of the top clubs, I'm not going to go to your Bournemouths and your Brentfords because I'm sure they're behaving themselves, but if you want to go to the rest of the top clubs and go to each owner to verify if they've been behaving themselves, I would love to do it. And I'd love to see if everybody comes out clean because I highly doubt it. So for me, we'll just see how it plays. See how it plays out.
You can't just say
No, but
Very big
that's how.
deflection there.
Do you think I'm lying when I say that? Do you think that's wrong?
That's a bit like
Are you lying,
when
bro?
someone gets done TV
He's
license.
trying to bring everyone else in.
But yeah,
You know, you
okay,
get done,
do you know
right?
what?
You
That is a
haven't
great.
paid the TV
Do you
license.
know why it's a great
Go and check
example?
everybody down
Do you
the
know
road.
why it's a great
And see if
example?
they-
Do you know why that's a great example? Because
I never
nobody
paid that.
cares about the TV license. No one cares.
I think people do care about this one.
I got a couple
Well,
of
the
letters
rivals
to say
care
we
because
can
they want
take your
Premier League
property.
titles
I care.
that they didn't earn and they didn't win. They want.
No, this is about the
this one
integrity
here
of the
wants
game,
Champions
Matisse.
League title for finishing in
Listen,
fifth, right? That's all the rivals want.
this-
And to be honest,
no.
do you think the Premier League are going to relegate Chelsea? I mean, it's all
should
clickbait,
do.
If they-
and
if
it's
they
all
had any
it's all
bollocks, they
fear
would.
mongering. Do you think Chelsea?
They
Do you think the Premier League are going to relegate Chelsea
But
and City
Matisse,
to
what
a
if
top
they
six
did?
teams
Make
to
an
the championship?
example
They're
out
not
What
of
if
going
they
to.
did, though?
going
But
to do it.
that's the thing I think's bad though, is
not
the
gonna
fact that
happen.
when we was talking this before, and it's like we'll bring City in a little bit, but I think this is going to be very telling because I think what we will see is somehow, some way, the Premier League not going after the Premier League big boys. No disrespect to Everton, easier to do the teams down the bottom and make an example out of them as teams in lower divisions literally going out of business. Look at Bury. Do you know what I mean? The team's just extinct, But it is concerning, and this isn't even like a my team's better than your team thing, and like at the top end of the game, the corruption and the rule breaks and the rule bends that are present at the top end of football, because at the top end of football is where all the money is.
Yep.
That's where the biggest decisions happen, and that's where the most significant money is present there. So whether it's from FIFA to UEFA to the Premier League, do I have faith that, like what Matisse is saying, that there's a lot of big boys at the top table that are bending things? And absolutely not. These are multi-billion pound companies. These are multi-millionaire people who run these things. There's going to be corruption from governing bodies through to clubs, and I don't have any faith. after seeing what happened to Everton, to be honest, I don't know if I'm like one of few, but I'm like, I just think Man City will be fine. I think
honestly,
Chelsea will be fine. I think they'll just make it go away.
yeah.
I don't think the Premier League will
Chelsea
scrutinise
and City
stuff.
are in two different positions because City's charges and they're rejecting them and denying them, which is a whole different ball game. Ours is allegations; it's not a charge.
Yeah,
if I heard that we were paying refs, my reaction would be completely different because that's like, now you're like literally affecting what's going on the pitch, which would be another level of madness. Obviously, this has an effect if you're paying agents and you're persuading players to come
you're giving yourself an unfair advantage of how to get players.
Honestly, I really don't truly believe that this doesn't happen across the board. Like, you're dealing with agents, you're dealing with players. I mean, this is, for me, I was not shocked to hear that there's some stuff going under the table, some extra money.
That happens
like,
at every
this is, for me, it's really not that shocking.
We just have to pay a fine. We just have to pay a fine.
Listen, if we pay a fine, if we get dock points, cool. Like, we could get dock points, our season would be finished, we'd have to move on to the next. Are we going to get relegated? Seriously? No. What's happened is the Daily Mail needed their clicks for the month, and they thought, let's get the relegation, bats out, and let's really start. Let's really. It's not gonna happen. We're not gonna get relegated.
In the one aspect, I kind of agree that they won't go and get the punishments that they deserve.
They won't.
However, I think this could be a lot harsher than people think. Right? I'll give you a couple of examples. This would be Italy. They relegated big boys. Juventus.
That's
Was it Inter as well? Have had heavy punishments. Those are Juventus. The biggest relegating Juventus is like relegating Man United. That's the biggest club.
Berlusconi with Milan, hella corrupt.
Right. So
look at Paratici.
And then you also got to look at the moment, and I think this is one of the reasons why that Everton one was so harsh. Right, is that at the moment you've got the government saying that they feel that football should have a regulator, and indeed they're looking to bring one in. The Premier League are saying, no, we can police ourselves.
Yeah,
we don't need a regulator.
They're part of it because they will take the money. They will take it. Yeah.
But part of them trying to show the government that they can regulate themselves is that if we see these things now, we will come down hard. Like I think that's why they've come down so hard on Everton, because they're trying to show the government that, listen, we don't need a regulator. We can self-regulate and we will deal with these things harshly if found. And I said this before. I remember I was on the Overlap, Gary Neville's Overlap show, and I said this before, right? It's nothing against Manchester City or Chelsea fans. They haven't done any wrong, the fans.
Well,
they haven't done anything wrong.
I'm sure I could find a couple.
No, all they've done is support their team. Listen, if any of our teams goes out and buys the best players,
it's not our
we're
fault.
Happy. Yeah? However, the people who own those clubs, if they are found guilty, for me, that is what you call financial doping, right? It's just like in athletics, when somebody gets done for doping, right? It doesn't matter the excuses. It doesn't matter I thought, it was the toothpaste I use. And then, you're guilty, and you must face the serious consequences.
And you get your medals
which
taken
basically,
away.
You are stripped. Yeah. You are stripped of the things that you won, right? Because the unfair advice. If take Arsenal out of it last season before you guys are here. The Liverpool one where they've beaten them by a point and things like that.
Twice.
I mean, come on. So that unfair advantage that Man City have gained, if it's proven true,
the sporting integrity.
They should be stripped.
So where do you draw?
They should be stripped, and I do think if teams need to be relegated. Then they should be relegated. If a team's won a Champions League or they've won leagues...
This is like the speech outside the Etihad.
Hold on.
It's not going to happen.
No, it's way better than that.
Well, you say it's not going to happen. I'm just saying to you, I would take this one a lot more seriously than normally, right? Because as I said, with the government relegated... That's what happened. That's why, in my opinion, that's why Everton got the book thrown at them, right? Because they do not want the government regulating football, because they know if the government come in and start regulating it, a lot of the practices that we see that happen all the time are going to be over. And a lot of, a lot of these things. So they're trying to show the government that we can look after our own shop. Don't be surprised if, I don't know if it'd be as harsh as relegation, but don't be surprised if these are harsh Serious.
But
You're
this
just
is-
brushing it away.
This
like
is
it's
about
nothing.
the integrity of. I'm not actually bantering you. This is actually about the integrity of the game and about football. So when I saw that,
There is no integrity. Look at the decisions
yeah,
we
but
get
then
week in,
this
week
is-
out.
but
There
this
is no
the point.
integrity.
We need to
I
get
agree with that.
I agree with you, but we need to get
The
some
game's
integrity
finished.
back into the game. And if they don't want an independent regulator, which assuming it is coming, then they need to start making examples out of teams. For me, when I saw the Everton one on Friday, that's one breach, and they've got hit with a 10-point deduction. That could be the difference of them staying up or going down. You know, it really could be. We don't know what's going to happen.
And you've got other teams.
They've got other
looking to
teams,
sue them at the
Leicester,
moment.
Southampton, the teams that went down last season, thinking, well, hold on
Quite
a minute.
rightly so.
You know, that could lead to a further points deduction if they're successful. So for me, if Everton had been hit with a 10-point deduction for breaching fair play by, what was it, I think it was like 9 mil or something like that, you know, not even a substantial amount of money in terms of the market and not really affecting them massively in terms of on the pitch.
It's just the breach. It's the
Just
fact
the
that
breach,
they did do it.
you know,
yeah.
a 10-point
Cheating.
deduction, that is massive, which is cheating. But that type of a punishment for a team like Everton, and this is not saying they're a small club at all, they're not, but it should be equal in terms of City with 115 accusations against them and charges, which obviously they're appealing, and this has been going on a long time. And the allegations against Chelsea, whether or not it's with a different owner or not, this is historic. You know, this is stuff that goes back to 2012, and this needs to be investigated. And it doesn't matter if Tom
And what
Brady's
else
there
has he
now.
done?
It
What
needs to
else
be
was going on
rectified.
at that time? If that's all that they've just uncovered so far, right? And
I'd be worried, mate.
That is because let's be real, it enabled Chelsea to put together a super team, just the same like it enabled Man City to put together these super duper teams, right, with unbelievable squads that equals titles and Champions Leagues and things
Well,
like
but
that.
even if they weren't
So-
successful, the fact that the rules are broken. So again, let's say this was Man United. We haven't won anything significant for 10 years, but if we did this, you still have to get the same relegations, the same fine. It's not even the fact that these teams have been successful in that time. It's the fact that the crime has been committed.
And
That's
I don't
that's
blame
what you're
Everton
asking for.
either for, you know, saying, well, you know, look at the other clubs and, you know, they're going to be doing it. Because if I was an Everton fan, I'd think, well, yeah, okay, fair,
But you can't-
whatever, we've done
to
what
me,
we've done.
I do blame them for saying
But
that because at the end of the day, right, you've been caught. Don't worry about the other clubs.
Yeah, but they're
right
saying
now.
there's other clubs that are being
Yeah, so no, but
investigated
they
or
can say
accused.
make
put
sure.
forth
No,
your
no,
evidence.
they've
I don't
paid their
blame them
thing.
for
They've
it.
taken
Yeah,
their
put
10
forth
points.
your evidence or shut up and
Yeah,
hold your lips.
and they did,
Right?
and they're taking licks. But I think they're entitled to say with the scrutiny that's
We'll
on
be
this
watching
now,
closely.
because
Listen.
anyhow you don't deal with them properly, like you're saying how they should deal with them.
I-
Then the Premier League needs to be held accountable too.
I look on this.
They need to get sued as well.
I look
then.
on this thing as serious, right? I remember Arsenal, and I'm sure you can say this for Tottenham as well, right? We build a new stadium for years and years, right? Our owner's saying to us, "Yeah, there's no money, man. Sorry, we can't get that player. Can't get that player." Not only that, we had to sell all our best players to City,
To Man City,
and
yeah.
Chelsea.
And Chelsea.
We see
yeah.
our best players leaving to go
balance the
to
books.
those
Yeah,
clubs
that's
to
why it
balance
hurt more,
the
yeah,
books, to be able to survive because we've moved into a new stadium and we're trying to stick to
You
the
could have just
rules.
said, you know what, we'll break a couple rules.
Yeah, yeah,
So
be
then
like,
you-
you know, there's a
Kroenke,
you
isn't
know,
it?
yeah, we know a little dodgy guy from over there. Let's take a little bit of money there, yeah, pay a little agent there and get. But we didn't. We sucked it up and we went through trauma. A team that was winning titles in Arsenal ain't won nothing since. Right, we moved into that new stadium. Apart from FA Cups, we haven't won a league. Right, so when I see clubs now that, you know, and these are only allegations, that if they're proven true in my books, they should be hit hard. Because you can't have teams that are there balancing, you know, Tottenham now have moved into a new stadium. They have to be they've got to think about their
serious
spending
balancing.
a bit, you know.
Well, look how much you've complained about maybe the squad
Well,
not
absolutely.
getting
They're
it.
having to
The
make
squad
them
doesn't get it.
play
In
American
fairness, it was the
football
same
there,
it
and
was
play
the
this
same
there,
before
and have
we moved
concerts
there.
there, and all that to balance the books of the new place.
Yeah, it's true.
Right? Whereas you've got other teams now, we're being sponsored by this.
Yeah.
We haven't even
All of
got
a
a
sudden
stadium sponsor.
Yeah, all of a sudden
yeah, it's
some
called just
mega
Tottenham Hotspur,
sponsor
yeah.
deal
We've got a
comes in.
sponsorship.
And when you
out of
do,
nowhere.
that's going to bring in
Revenue.
huge revenue. If you
But
call it like
obviously
the
we still don't have
Expedia
one. And
Stadium.
the
or
one
something
thing
like
I
that.
will say, you know, and I always do say this about Daniel Levy, you know, in terms of a businessman, exceptional, you know, balances the book so well, and like, you know, you'll always see us first when they bring out that yearly, you know, kind of documentation of how well a club's
You get
run
slated for
financially.
it.
Yeah, he's always
Get a
at the top
trophy.
Yeah, they always
because
get slated.
I think we probably do, but that's, you know, the only trophy we ever win because he does balance the books in terms of a business side of things very
books
well, but we
trophy.
don't have the same, you know, like you do.
But
We
imagine
don't
how
have the
somebody-
money to
Quick
put
book
in.
cut.
Like
Abby,
I
imagine
say,
like someone like him must feel because he'd be like, I'm doing everything right, and all I do is I get slated.
yeah, I mean, the
I'm
ownership
getting
could put some
absolutely-
money in. I wouldn't be, you know.
All right, but what I'm saying,
opposed to that.
we don't. He might be looking at it and say, I just can't at the moment. We got.
No, he wouldn't. No, at the beginning he would have been thinking that when they
might be
first got in
looking
that
and say,
stadium.
I'm
Of
looking at the
course.
balance sheet, and you know what? That money that we got, for Harry Kane. This amount can go towards players. The rest of it, I need.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
you
I mean-
have to do that.
Whereas you're up against teams that are just like,
Yeah.
Who
Well,
cares,
because
man?
nothing's really changed at
It's
Tottenham.
got to
the
be-
fact that the
No,
only thing that's
nothing's
changed is that they've
changed.
chose a guy who's got a better vision and a better
Yeah.
way of playing, so that the types of players that he's gone to go and get
Are
can-
fit in the price
yeah,
bracket.
are fit in
But
the price
you know,
bracket,
the
yeah.
money,
Oh,
the
yeah.
Kane money has already been spent. That's well known. You know, that was spent on Mickey Van der Ven, James Maddison.
Yeah.
You know, people that we brought in during the summer.
There you
That's
go.
been spent. And you don't forget, when we were getting a new stadium, we had a year and a half without any signings whatsoever because we couldn't afford to do it. So you know, it's not really fair when you think about things like that. Whether or not that's because the owners don't want to take it out of their own pocket or not, but it's not really fair when you look at, you know, potentially the allegations against Chelsea, who have bought all these titles by, you know, buying all these players essentially, you know, behind closed doors.
Battle of the Bridge. That was
Um,
Hazard's goal.
Yeah, you know,
Just
knocked
saying.
us out of that
They
fourth
weren't
spot
going
to
to win that.
get
They weren't going to
Champions
win that
League.
title anyway.
I do think though, like
do you-
the more we're
It's your
talking
top
about
one.
it
It
now,
was gone before that. Anyway.
I do think
We finished second to you. That's the title that should be incoming as well. Yeah.
Let's see,
Talk
they
about
all want it. They all
shameless.
want it back, mate.
2017.
Go back retrospect.
I mean, honestly,
The
you can't-
Premier
you
League,
can't actually
bro.
change what happened in the
No,
past.
but the
to be
Prem,
honest.
the, but,
You
but,
can.
but the
sorry,
Premier League can
sorry
affect.
to
You can
cut
change it on Wikipedia.
In athletics, you can.
Yeah, but it's not a flex.
No, but it
It's
should be
actually not-
the same.
Well, this
rules-
hasn't happened before,
The
has
same
it?
rules should apply.
This hasn't happened. What we're about to step
To be
into
honest, from a
is
fan,
uncharted territory.
From a fan point of view, even if we are guilty, right, and you relegate us, cool, right, I'll have to hold that. But you could strip the titles. You can't strip what happened in the past. Like we won the title. We still won the titles. You can strip them on Wikipedia and in writing, but
No, but then, no, you
the
haven't won them because
the
they-
memories are still there and the images
You
are
can
still
have-
there.
yeah, but you
But it
have
goes
the-
down in history that those titles are struck off, just like with Juventus.
Yeah, you want to chat about asterisk titles.
Juventus titles have been struck off. So it's not the same.
Yeah.
You'd be like
No one really speaks
Marseille
about it.
when they won that
You'll have the
Champions League,
bus
struck
parades
off.
in your memories,
You know,
but
we say relegate the Blues, and obviously we're talking about Chelsea, City, and
All I'm saying
and
is, if you're
Everton
talking
here.
about Chelsea in this manner, then I don't know what you expect Man City.
So this
What do
is
you
my
expect
next
for Man
point,
City? Do
right?
you expect them to get relegated to League Two? Because there's 150 charges.
I know.
How many charges?
115.
Sorry, 115. 115 charges, and this is how we're talking about
But-
maybe 4 or 5 of Chelsea.
So we talk about lawyers and stuff.
We
There's a
can't be
cut-off
getting the
point.
same punishment
The
as them.
lawyers know that there's a cut-off point where if they can delay it up to that point, everything just gets thrown away. So obviously they're paying the best lawyers in the world. But you've spoken to City fans. We all have. They love their journey from League Two. So send them back down to play Gillingham. No
Listen,
one's had
as I
our
said,
journey,
no,
Robert.
no, I've said it
Know what I
already,
mean?
right? I feel
Get
sorry
them
for the
gone, mate.
fans. The fans ain't done nothing
It's
wrong.
not the fans'
If I was a fan of them club, I'd listen. I want to spend as much as possible.
Yeah.
But are they sticking to the rules? And if the rules have been broken,
Yeah.
consequences should be harsh. I mean, James Barrios says, Robbie, what do you think selling Gordon and Ritchie was? Everton has a positive transfer balance over the most recent seasons. 3 seasons, but they only sold those when now all of a sudden it was discovered. Remember, all of a sudden they started
Yeah,
selling
the
everyone. They
everything's
sold
been going on
Iwobi.
for a year.
They've stopped buying players. Really, you know what I mean? So and Chelsea have had some of these sort of breaches before in it. Remember they had a season where they couldn't sign no one.
Yeah.
yeah.
You know,
Leicester
I mean,
had it last year. Brendan Rodgers essentially got kind of sacked because he couldn't refresh that team.
No.
In the summer, their best thing that they did was retaining the likes of bloody Maddison and keeping Tielemans for one more year. They had to let Schmeichel go. They had to let what's his face go. Fofana,
Yeah, so is it fair on Leicester?
No, that's what I'm saying. And then the players that they weren't able to go and invest in ultimately made them have a really weak team for where they should have been. So
got sent down.
it does happen. It does happen.
Let's have a quick show of hands here, and I know we're doing a poll of it. Who thinks if Chelsea and Man City are found guilty of these breaches and they're serious enough, that they should be relegated?
Well, I think whatever. It's easy for us to say we all want him to go down. Yeah, I hear that.
Your rivals, obviously.
But I hear
gonna
that.
say
No, but here's the thing. What I want to happen is, whatever the direct correlation to the charge equals, then that's what should happen. If for the charges that Chelsea have
'cause-
done, it means you get a points deduction of
Yeah.
50
Yeah, it should be
points.
fair.
Because
It
let me
should be
add to
fair.
this.
Then-
Because if anybody else on this table
Has
is
to be
found
fair.
guilty of doing the same thing or similar in
Same
the
thing.
future,
Same thing should
I don't
happen,
want to
yeah.
hear the energy
No.
change. Oh, we shouldn't
No,
be relegated.
it
We,
needs-
we
We're
don't
trying to
really,
improve
we didn't
the
mean
game,
it.
mate.
Nah, no
So if
one's
you're gonna
no
say
one's doing that. No
relegation,
one's doing that.
You
No
have
one's
to
doing
mean relegation.
Cross
because-
that bridge when it comes
But it
to
should only be
Chelsea
relegation
should get points deduction.
if that's the
City should
punishment
be
for the
relegated.
crime.
Bless you, bless you.
Thank you.
That's all
But
right.
to be
Having a
fair,
little
thank
sing
you.
song over
to be fair, if they got, if you're
If you win relegate us,
one
where you sending
charge,
City?
No,
That's
I
what I'm
agree.
saying.
if you're doing one charge against Everton at 10 points, and let's say Chelsea are guilty of potentially 50 points, so they're relegated anyway. Let's say City.
But does it work like I don't
Well,
know
it doesn't work
because
like that.
because the
How
charges
does it
aren't the
work?
same
It's not
charge.
the same charge.
For you could have these 4. How many you got? 4. How many you got? Right. Let's just say Chelsea got 5. Let's just we're not football finance
We don't
analysts,
know.
yeah. Let's just hypothesize, yeah. Let's say Chelsea got 5 charges, but one of their charges, any one single thing of their charges are not as bad singly as the one that Everton did, which gets you ultimate 10. So maybe Chelsea might get one where, well, this one gets you, well, that's 100 grand fine. That means because you did this thing. This thing is 250 grand. You really can't do that one. Oh, this one here, that's 2 million. That one. Maybe theirs could be all monetary. We don't know, and that's the thing where we don't know what the
exactly.
what the
We're gonna
crime
have to wait. We're gonna
is
have to,
versus the punishment.
We're gonna have to wait and see. But if they are as serious as the Everton ones,
face
they
what it
need
says
to
in
get
the
the
book.
same amount. And if the Man City ones in particular, I think those are the 115 breaches. If they get done, you know, come on.
And if they don't get done, where do we stand now?
If
Because-
relegation is appropriate, then they should be relegated. And
Yeah, if that's what it is.
appropriate to say, right, we strip you of all your titles, then you're stripped.
Defo.
Yeah.
Simple as. I think there has to be clear rules with this thing. You can't just have one team or two teams or whatever just going and just making up because they've got a load of money, making it up as they go along. Otherwise, we're not going to get a level playing field when it comes to football, which is what we want. And we've seen, as I said, Juventus in Italy get relegated.
Yep.
Interesting to see what we do in this country though, because other countries, again, look at the state of Italian football. So they've had to get a real grip of that. Look at Spanish football. You know, Barcelona were in financial ruins. You know,
That's another
pulling
thing, yeah.
all kind of economic levers. There's investigations into whether Barcelona were paying refs, and it's so corrupt in this country.
What
Football
they've done, they should
football
be in the
corruption
second
of
division.
it exists in every.
Barcelona
Do you know what I mean?
get caught for that referee.
No, nothing. Do you know what I mean?
No, but it's still ongoing. That's
Yeah,
why.
yeah, exactly.
If they're caught,
but in
they
this,
should be relegated.
Yeah, but in
You've
this
got to-
country, this is something we've never seen before.
Yep.
So this is why you're right. Now the eyes are on the Premier League. You've just made a massive example out of Everton. You have.
Yeah.
And okay, rightly so if that's the charges they deserved. However, like we're saying, there are 115 charges for Manchester City. There is X amount for Chelsea. We are watching, and you have to be as consistent as you were for the smaller teams. None of this just because you're a big team, you can just get out of it.
And as Robbie said, the big teams shouldn't be exempt because, as we know, in 2006, Juventus were stripped of their previous 2 titles and relegated to Serie B. And also AC Milan and Fiorentina were also caught up. The general manager of Juve ensuring that the club's matches were officiated by referees that would be kind to his club. So there you go. It's all backhanders. Should we get into some super chats, Rob?
Yeah, Ricky Proctor says, if the financial hit from being relegated for one season is less than the gains of winning the Champions League and
I
Premier
agree.
League titles, then relegation is not adequate.
I agree.
And Kingsley says, people have forgotten the government went through Chelsea's book before giving the club
Not
to
enough.
Todd Bowley. But it's Todd Bowley's and his people who've then revealed, you know, more. Yeah, to be fair
So
to him,
there's your need for a regulator there.
To be-
isn't
to
there?
be fair to him.
The UEFA one, in their investigation, they could only go back to 2018-19, I think, and the Premier League can go the whole way back to 2012 from when it started, which is what they need to do.
LJ Brown super chat says Port X on Best of Enemies sat opposite KG and Bob. He must have felt like a kid watching Blue Peter, seeing the before, and here's one we done earlier with them. I don't know, man. Your jokes they're slipping down a little bit, LJ. I can't lie. He normally has one decent one per show, so come again with a super chat. Keem Sheikh says these bottle merchants were winning the league by October and lost it all by November. I have seen donkeys with more medals than these clowns.
who's he on about?
I could be both of you, to be honest.
Yeah,
It
but
could
then
be
having
both of you.
said that, maybe if we would have cheated, we
would've
could have
won.
brought more players in.
Oh
to
yeah,
have a bit of
yeah.
better
Blah,
squad.
blah, blah. NBA High says mighty Chelsea aren't going nowhere. Cry about it. And then
Yeah, we
LJ
don't
does
know.
come again. Right, we've got another joke. Hi panel. I wanted to know your thoughts on Southgate as manager and who should replace him. I can guess what that chocolate milk dud soaked in Ray and Nephew thoughts are. Nah,
that
the
LJ
joke
again?
that was a tenner, but no, this is poor from you. Clara Bitsy says Chelsea are not even charged or investigated yet by the Prem. All these irregularities are in 2013 in the Roman era, which the new owners self-reported to the Prem. Max, we get a heavy fine on
That's
transfer
that's
ban.
the era where they won everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, maybe now that the scrutiny's coming on a bit more, they can't, So
Ricky says, speak about your dirty club, Matisse. Why are you hiding shamelessly behind every club does it? Everybody isn't a criminal, Matisse, says Big Rick. D. Sinclair, Serie A relegated its biggest club and stripped them of their trophies. Let's see and wait if the Premier League has anything about them. Basically saying, have they got the bottle to go and do what the Italians did? I think you've read James's one. It's telling that your second thought, they wouldn't do it to a top 6 club. That's no excuse. Chelsea deliberately hid payments and didn't disclose expenditures. In any other industry, that's fraud, says James. London Nomad, Chelsea need to bunker up. City won't get punished, and Everton's punishment doesn't send the biggest message, so Chelsea will be the big fish to target. Roman sold the club, so why bully our mid-table club, says NBA Highs. Fish and chips, Steve Urkel is rattled, says LJ Brown. Not sure. Again, 3 jokes that haven't really connected there. FFP bought in 2 Premier Leagues after 2012. I bought it before, says Roman Abramovich. Nice to have you on the show. Michael Ramsey says City won't get fined until goes. And then we'll get into some more super chats in a bit.
Yeah, so, obviously we're going to have to all wait and see what happens, but I do think this is going to be a lot more serious than a lot of people think if they are found guilty. The other thing I wanted to touch on today was injuries. Injuries seem to be, I don't know about you guys, it seems to be more than usual. I saw a thing here where it says there's been 196 injuries over the last 3 months at the start of the 2023-24 top flight season, according to data analyst Ben Dinnery, who's founder of Premier Injuries. A 15% increase compared to the past 4 campaigns. So there has been more injuries. Why? Why are there more injuries? I mean, we all saw Kieran Trippier the other day when he confronted that fan. I mean, how many injuries we got? How many injuries we got?
Lads are giving it best.
I thought the fan was going to be like 21 Savage. A lot. How many injuries we got? A lot.
21.
21.
I can break it down though, Rob. So the most that we're seeing this season, hamstrings, 53 of them. We've got thighs, knees. The second one, not specified, with 40. No wings. Head, shoulders, knees and toes though we've got. Ankle injuries, a lot of those. But the hamstring injuries are really predominantly the most. This season, we can clearly see that Manchester United have been dealt the biggest blows when it comes to injuries. 14 for them, 14 for Newcastle as well. Forest 13, that's because they've got about 48 players though. Sheffield United with 13 as well. West Ham coming off the lightest with only 5. Liverpool on 9. The average is 9.8 this season. There's reasons to say maybe that there was a World Cup hangover. That started a year ago today, by the way. 151 injuries were recorded by game week 11, 45 more than last season. So there's obviously a few that stand out, but it's the hamstrings that are really the most common one. You saw Pedro Neto pull up recently with a hamstring injury. It's a lot, mate. Van der Ven got a really bad one as well. Yeah. Chelsea have apparently had the least total recovery time, according to this article.
Chelsea have had 12. Arsenal have had 9. Villa 10. There's a lot of injuries. 14 for Manchester United and 14 at the moment for Newcastle. I mean, and it has hit. As bad as people say United have played, for instance, 14 injuries.
Take 14 players out of your team.
You take 14 out, that's a lot.
But don't forget, next season we've got a new format in the Champions League. We've got a Europa League group stage, which will have 36 clubs.
Even more.
6 matches go to up to 8. 2-leg playoff to reach the last 16. So we're looking at more games, an overload on players, the World Cup hangover. There's probably 4 or 5 reasons why this is happening, but I don't think we've ever seen anything.
So what's the solution then?
Less games. Simple.
They're not going to do that though. It's never
And
going to
that's
happen.
what all the top managers are calling for, but they don't listen.
So something like the League Cup.
They've taken away the 2-leg from
Is
next
it
season,
worth
I
it
think,
now?
or this
When you're
season.
seeing all those injuries for Premier League teams, right? Is it worth a League Cup early in the season? It's very bit cold. Goes all the way till February. An additional competition.
No, I think the League Cup's important. I do. I think you can't just dismiss it because people don't like to view it as a domestic honour. I mean, it is. And also, like, the League Cup is important for teams. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to matter for, you know, the top 4 teams or, you know, maybe the cities of the world.
It doesn't matter to
but
any team, Abby.
but it does matter because
does,
I think
Robbie.
it does
No, no.
matter. There are more than 4 teams in the Premier League. You know, teams like, I don't know, you know, West Ham, Brighton, Bournemouth, Fulham, Spurs.
Look at
You know, there's
Middlesbrough, they're in the
Borough, there's-
quarterfinals.
No, the point I was going to make is you sort of cut me off a bit, right? Is that it doesn't matter to any team until they reach late in the tournament. So if they get to like the semi-final, all of a sudden they'll
yeah,
play
they want
their
to play,
first team.
but shouldn't be the way. I
No,
mean,
but that's the reality of the competition. Is that competition? Everybody, you'll see teams in the Championship. I saw Ipswich. They're in the last round, right? They're flying high in their league. They made 10 changes, I think it was, in that game. 10, and they went out, and they don't care because they're more interested in trying to
because
get.
of the money that comes from getting promoted to the Premier League.
So then, is it worth playing this competition?
But yeah,
The thing is, even
it
if you get
is.
rid of the League Cup, I just feel like the way that the governing bodies are set up, they're always trying to add more games anyway. This Nations League, I mean, I've never
Finalissima,
cared
or whatever
about
it was
it,
called.
never taken any interest. They will continue. So even if you do take away that tournament, they will find that they'll see that as a gap and an opportunity to find something else to replace it. So I don't think even
I
taking
agree.
away the League Cup is even gonna.
It's about
gonna do
sponsorship and
anything.
advertising. They want as many games as they possibly can because it brings revenue in.
But
You know,
someone
whether
like
the-
Port Vale, right, who are playing Middlesbrough in the quarterfinals in December, you can't go and tell them, let's forget this. This
the
is
League
like
Cup
maybe
doesn't
their
matter,
biggest
it's
game
huge.
in their
and
history.
and the revenue it brings into them
Just
as
'cause
well.
they're not
for
Arsenal
having
or
a-
Liverpool.
No,
No,
but
no,
I'll be
come to the
interested to
stadium.
see if they played their full team in the last round. That's the point I'm trying to make, is that all these teams, they play in this competition. They'll now that they're at a quarter-final, they'll probably, for a club like them, they'll take it serious. But up until then, they
They
don't
have been
take
taking it seriously because
No,
when
they've
would
been
Port
winning
Vale
games.
Get into the
No, they've been
quarterfinal,
winning
bro?
games, right? And they haven't taken
It's a
it.
bit harsh.
To me, taking it seriously is like, you in the Champions League, do you rest any players?
Yeah.
Nobody does, do you?
No, you do. If you've
not
already
really, do you?
qualified in the last
Man
2
United
games.
got Galatasaray coming up. You think they're going to rest any players?
No,
for
because
the
they
week?
need the points.
They're bottom of
but
the group.
We're top with
Yeah, if
our
you're
group,
through
right?
and
So
you're
we
done.
can afford to rest.
All right,
players.
even Arsenal, right? Arsenal in the last round of the Champions League, right? They're top of the group. They didn't rest no players. They went in there with a full.
Should rest Saka.
They went in there with a full team. Saka played,
Yeah, but you should rest him.
right? So that's what I'm saying. So, like, I can guarantee you, the one
Injured,
game,
bro.
right? People, as much as people have been saying to Arteta, why don't you rest Saka? The one game he's always rested him in this season has been the League Cup. The League Cup don't really matter until you get to the semi-final for most clubs. Because all of a sudden they're like, oh, we could win this. Let's go strong.
Depends
Or
on the club,
I'll tell you
though.
another
Depends on
pattern.
what they're-
I'll tell you another pattern you see with a lot of teams, right? Is that if they're playing at home and they feel that they're playing a team that they could beat, they'll go with a bit of a stronger team to make sure they win. Right? But come on, no one's taking this competition as seriously as they should do. So is it worth it if when you're seeing all these injuries?
Well,
just give the players a bit more time off.
It's not just here though. It's Gavi's, it's Vinicius Junior, it's players abroad as well. They don't have a League Cup, so
8
I
to
think
10 months. Gavi's going to be out for now.
So I think
by the way.
I think it's deeper than just the League Cup. For me, international duty is a problem. Like, we can't have 3 international breaks before Christmas.
Yeah.
That for me is just
It's
wrong.
insane.
And the amount of times you see international breaks and you see friendly matches, why? Scrap the friendlies. You got
100%,
qualifiers.
bro.
The qualifiers need to be there because you're trying to get into the tournaments. Fine. Don't add any more regularity to the tournaments. I'm hearing World Cup every 2 years and crap like that. Don't want to ever see that again. But get rid of the friendlies.
Yeah,
And if
England-
you are going to do the friendlies, it should be compulsory that you don't take anyone that has played, say, a certain amount of games
That
in the
season.
last year. And you make sure that you take fringe players who are less minutes and less,
So it
Take
is
the
to
under
actually find
23.
stuff
yeah,
out.
so you actually find, not only do you give those guys an opportunity to impress, but you're also not using players that are literally being dragged across the calendar.
But even that's
Gav-
hard though, because look at the England team.
Why did Gavi play
like-
the other day?
Yeah, but even in the England
He
team,
played
it's
the
like the
Olympics
people
as
who
well.
are on the fringe of England often do play every game for their team. Conor
Yeah.
Gallagher plays every game for Chelsea. Has he not played every minute probably this year?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's got weird lungs.
Okay, yeah. Do you know what I mean? Someone like, I don't know, Kieran Trippier, was he in the squad?
Yeah.
Played nearly
He's
every
just
game.
pulled out now, hasn't he? I mean,
Right.
Gabriel
Like-
Jesus for Arsenal, he's been injured for over a month, and he's set to play
Yeah.
for Brazil against Argentina on Wednesday. So, you know what I mean? So, how's he going to come back? What sort of? I agree with what you're saying, Matisse. Way too many international breaks before Christmas. I mean,
It's crazy. It's every month, basically.
like the World Cup last year was an anomaly, but this year to replace that with 3, October, November.
I think it's always 3.
September,
It is
October.
always
November.
three.
Usually it's always 3.
No,
Yeah.
I swear they've added one on this year.
No,
Though.
Honestly, it
it's always
is
three.
this bad.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
been
know.
3.
I don't know why
Yeah.
this year it just seems like there's more, but it is
Yeah,
always
it does,
3.
it does feel worse.
But I totally agree. I don't understand what the point of the
I do-
Nations
Had
League
England
was.
playing against Scotland in a friendly, 2 of the most fiercest
Rivalry.
teams against
gonna
each
kick
other.
each other.
Do you know what I mean?
Andy Robertson.
Yeah, it was
injured.
150,
No, shoulder injury.
150 years of whatever it was. but
If
it's
you
like,
if you take away the friendlies, you can condense that to 2.
yeah.
You know.
But you will get people arguing saying, well, that's sort of the club versus country thing. We would say that because we're supporting our clubs. But
Yeah, but if
what
the
about
game
the
doesn't
country?
mean anything, then what's the point?
You say
know,
it doesn't mean anything.
A
but
friendly.
I
A
think
friendly doesn't mean
especially the
anything.
South American players, there's patriotism on a next level there. Like, how dare you miss a game for Brazil? How dare you not come to international break? Where I feel like in this country, through probably the likes of Fergie, the likes of Benitez back maybe 20 years ago, they could say, oh, you're not going. Whereas I feel like the Gabby Jesus's, he's been injured for a month. I see him doing overhead kicks in training.
Yeah.
So
doing
he's
the
obviously up
Bundesliga
for
logo.
it to go. Yeah. he
Also,
was.
with Charlotte is out, it's his moment to,
Yeah,
to start, isn't it?
Bundesliga logo. It ain't going to suit us when come Brentford at the weekend.
The thing is,
Someone doing that.
the thing is though, it's not even a club versus. It's just actually the players need to be protected because the quality of the game is going to keep dropping. A lot of people have the opinion of the quality of the game is not even on the same level as it was in the 2000s, you know, because of the lack of technical, you know, level dropping, and obviously it's become more athletic. So to then have injuries and key players missing all the time, it's just going to drop the levels even more. So it's kind of for their own benefit to keep the quality up.
Yeah, definitely. Well, another thing I've got to ask everybody is, of course, after last weekend's games in the Premier League, sorry, not the weekend just gone, previous weekend, where there was another international break, is really interesting at the top. Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool, really close together now.
Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal is what it actually is. You
I'm
say,
the-
my facts are bad.
Listen,
Get
I'm just going
a
by,
load of this
I'm
guy.
just going by how it was written here. I didn't write this.
By an Arsenal fan.
I didn't
so-
write this. Don't
Yeah.
get it twisted, right? And you've got Tottenham in the mix as well. I mean, it's really tight at the top there. Villa, who's going to be top by Christmas?
I think a lot
Arsenal,
of it depends
so Cecil
on.
can get the top out.
Run it back.
No, please.
Run it back. I think, if I'm honest, a lot depends on this weekend's game between Man City and Liverpool. I think if we win it, you get the momentum, the confidence to, because we haven't won there since 2015. Whereas if Man City win it, obviously you're just going to naturally say, yeah, they'll be top at Christmas. But I think if we can go there and get a result on Saturday, it could be Liverpool. But then again,
You got
as
a bit
we've
of
seen with Liverpool, we can finish top at Christmas, but it doesn't mean.
What's
you're
some
gonna
of your
win it.
games coming up?
We got Man City. I think we got Brent. Let me just have a look quickly. I don't want to give you fake fixtures.
Fake stats.
You've got a bit of a depleted midfield going. into
Well,
that game
actually,
as well,
we're
isn't it?
looking all right up until Christmas. So it's Man City, then we got Lask at home, Fulham at home,
Lask.
Sheffield United away. Yeah,
Lasker.
relax. Palace away, USG, and then
USG.
it's a massive week at Anfield. You've got Man United on the
Wanted
17th,
to say
West Ham
PSG.
in the Carabao on the 20th. And then you're coming up to Liverpool
Just
on the
before Christmas,
23rd of
23rd. Merry
December.
Christmas, Arsenal
Oh.
fans. What's who have you guys got?
We have got Villa at home next week. Then we are away to City, home to West Ham, home to Newcastle. That's all until the 10th of December. And then we've got Forest away, Everton home, Brighton away, Bournemouth
Tough games, man.
at home. And then next game after that is United away, 14th of Jan. Obviously, we've got injuries. We've got 3 suspended. Well,
United
Udogie will be back. Udogie will be back this game. Romero's out. Basuma's out. Van de Ven's out. Madison's out.
All right, we just done injuries.
Yeah,
I mean, stop crying about it.
coming from an Arsenal
Violins
fan,
in the chat.
cry about everything. Anyway,
We don't cry
yeah,
as much as
there's
we can. Listen, this is the first bit of injuries we've had all season. Look at it, they've had 14.
yeah, they've got other.
I don't see you
hold
showing
on,
him
hold
any
on. We've
mercy.
got other injuries.
We've had 14, but we should
We've
sack
got
our
other
manager.
injuries. Oh, look at our bench.
I
There are
ain't seen
so
you
many
showing him no
injuries.
mercy.
There is.
No one
This is
cares.
just actually
They're
not
like-
true about this. That I've not said about United. I even sent you a clip last week where I have been very vocal about the fact you've had loads of injuries. Check your stats.
Actually, as a
and
matter of
facts.
fact, and I'll tell you the thing
Thank
about
you.
I'll tell you the thing about injuries, right? Is who are those injuries to?
At Spurs.
I mean,
Or in
no,
general?
when I say when people are talking about injuries, Arsenal have had injuries to key players all
Yeah,
season.
so have we.
So have United.
So have we.
No, you've only just had them now.
It doesn't matter when they come, Rob.
No,
they're
Rob,
there.
I think you're clutching.
You're just
with that
clutching.
one.
Also,
United
No,
have been-
Perisic.
No,
Facts are the
United
facts.
have. They've had guys.
We've been
Lissandro.
Whole defence.
Whole defence.
There's also other
Keeper might
players
be
that do
injured now as
impact
well.
the squad, such as Perisic, who has had a great start to the season, did his ACL after 2 games. That's another one. Manuel Solomon, someone you can bring off from the bench again, ACL.
reach.
It's
Just
not.
right.
It's actually not. It's not reaching. These are squad players. When Spurs have a very weak squad and it's paper thin, 1 or 2 injuries to that bench make a hell of a lot of difference, and that's exactly what you're seeing. And now, as we showed in the Wolves game, you're back to having the same team essentially that was there under Antonio Conte because
Squad.
of suspensions and because of that. So squad players do make a difference.
So you
don't
need a
they?
bigger squad then.
Absolutely. We need some money. And we circle. we
Look,
circle back. We circle
vicious
Go
back.
check some
Circle,
dodgy agents and like Chelsea
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
You might
give
be
me
all
a-
right.
hit me
All
up.
right. Man City's games. Obviously, they got Liverpool this weekend. I'm just going by their league games. Then they've got Tottenham. Then they're away at Aston Villa. So that's 3 tough games.
Bro, they
Away at Luton.
could be tight, mate.
Away at Luton. Then home to Crystal Palace on the 16th of December. And then their final game.
Club World Cup, don't forget.
Oh, it's
they've
been
got that.
postponed. They would have had Man City, would have been playing Brentford at home, but that's been postponed. Wednesday, the 27th, they go away to Everton. That's after Christmas, isn't it? So that would be. So they've got. That's quite a difficult run.
tough, mate.
The
Quite a difficult run for them.
They're not on the
That's
best
why I think
Yeah.
Liverpool might just,
And then Arsenal's run away at Brentford this week, then home to Wolves, away to Luton. Then these are the hard run that Arsenal have. They've got to go away to Aston Villa, home to Brighton. Brighton have done well against Arsenal over the years. Then away at Liverpool.
How have you got on there recently?
And then, Liverpool?
Yeah.
We drew there last year. And then just after Christmas, West Ham home. So
Needed to win.
I think all the teams have basically got a similar type of run. To
I think
Christmas,
Liverpool's probably the most favourable out of that. Obviously, they have to play City though, but if they can draw, like Alex says, get a decent result out of it. To be honest, it doesn't even matter who's top at Christmas. It's going to be. Look at the points between them. It's whoever is top
Well,
at
it was
Christmas
you last year.
isn't going to be top
It
by
usually
very
does
much.
matter.
It was you
What was that
last year,
stat?
mate.
Do you have that stat?
It used to be
How
that.
many league
Yeah, a lot of teams win
leaders
it.
at
Yeah.
Christmas?
Basically it was everyone went on to win it apart from us twice, and then there's been a couple more, but we were like holding that L when it came to that record. Like, oh look, they've been top at Christmas twice and not won it. Like, so it doesn't mean you win it,
No.
as you found out,
No.
and Cecil's
Especially
T-shirt
against Man
found
City.
out. As
And,
well.
and also, I wanted to talk to Flex about United, right? Because despite the fact that you've had a horrendous season so far, right? You're not that far off the top. You're in the top 6. You've got 21 points.
Don't let them do this to you.
No, listen, they're 5 points off the top 4, right? Because basically, all right, they may have lost 5 games, but they've won 7.
Got 5 more
And they
points than
haven't,
you, mate.
they haven't drawn games. So when
Honestly,
you
I
don't
don't
when you
mind.
don't draw games
I'm watching
and
them.
you win games, so United, if they do get a few players back in that, the top 4 surely must be still something under serious consideration for.
Of course it is. It was never not that. Obviously, the 2 defeats back to back from Newcastle and Man City. Obviously, there were smashings, but they were in 2 different competitions. You only lost 3 points in the league. We didn't lose 6. What's been happening in the Champions League, coming close to winning football matches, but not, and being bottom of the group, with Rasmus Højlund currently top of the Champions League goal scoring. This is weird. But again, the games we've lost in the Champions League, they're not Premier League losses.
Yeah, because everybody's been saying how well Newcastle have played this season.
go.
They're below United.
Look, and the injuries that we've had so many injuries, and apparently Luke Shaw's back for the Everton game. We've missed him for a long time. Look, there's still a lot wrong at Man United. There's still a lot when you look in the performances of how they have won that's probably led to this probably fair perception that Man United aren't good, because when they have won, it hasn't looked convincing, and when they've lost, they've usually lost badly. So there's not really any in between. But I think if you come out of that period and look as scarred as we do, when it could have been worse, there's always a chance to reignite the season. And this is the batch. You talk about what the next batches of games are. For me, this is the acid test for Man United, because this next batch of games are peak. If they come out of it on the right end of it, you go, wow, I'll tell you what, they turned the corner. But there are some bad ones in there. Everton away. So look at that now, what's just happened to them. There's 2 ways of them looking at that. There's the side
I
of...
wouldn't want to play them.
No way. There's a
right
side
now.
of us against the world. They've
Yeah.
given us 10 points. Tell you what, win today, we're out of the relegation zone already. You know, we were doing all right. We were building up esteem. And also the calmness of we're not going to get relegated. Sheffield United, Burnley, and Luton are all worse than us. And we've been deducted 10 points and we're still on 4 points. We're still not in bottom. So this is a fragile Man United side. Let's stick it on them. We can beat them. So that's a big worry for Man United. Then it's Galatasaray away. We know what that comes with. And then losing that means you're out of the Champions League.
If you
Then
lost
straight
that
after
game,
that...
would you be in Europa or not?
No, you still have to wait probably for the next one. But actually, no, it would be
Got
Bayern.
Munich last.
But you got Bayern Munich last, so
I
it
think-
depends what happens.
I think you guys almost probably need to be out of Europe if you're gonna.
I just want to be, if it's, don't go into Europa League. And then after that, so say that you take a battering away at Everton, then at Galatasaray, then straight after that, you got to go to Newcastle away, very next game. Then straight after that, you got Chelsea home. So
And then Anfield.
no, then it's
Well, one
Bournemouth.
game and then
Then it's
Anfield.
Bournemouth at home, and then it's Anfield. So that there, Man United, you're right, where we are now, considering how bad it's been and sack Eric Ten Hag, it's an absolute mess. They would need to press the eject. You know, and meanwhile, the CEO has stepped down. You know, there's a big, and this is why I was saying all these times, when no matter what happens, even if Man United have to finish 15th, you have to stick by this manager because there's so much change coming. Richard Arnold has been at the club for like 16 years. That's a massive part of Man United going. Like a new regime's coming in. Jean-Claude Blanc is potentially coming in. Paul Mitchell is supposed to be coming in as a sporting director. John Murtough is going to get sacked. These are guys who make big decisions at Man United. So if anything, we'd be idiots to not see how this pans out and just ask for some calm, no matter what happens on the pitch. So yeah, we're going to take some more humblings. We're going to take some more cookings. We're going to take some more beatdowns. But yeah, Man United aren't that bad.
We're going to jump into some Opta picks. Just before we do, I also want to ask the same question of Chelsea. Because, again, another team, I know they've been draws, but those have been impressive. Against all the big boys, you played us 2-2. City game 4-4. You beat Tottenham.
Liverpool 1-1 as well.
Yeah, it looks to everybody now that Chelsea are on the up, like they've turned a corner. What are you expecting in your period now going up to Christmas?
We do need to go on a run. I think Newcastle with their injury issues, it's a game that we should be targeting to try and win. It's not going to be easy. Man United, we should be targeting to win with the way they've been playing. And Brighton, we've played them in the cup and we beat them, so we should be trying to win that. They're tough games, but I'd be trying to win all of them. And then the fixtures after that are all against low block teams, and that's where we struggle. But again, we need to overcome that if we're going to get up the table. The only problem with Chelsea is that every time they start to look like they're going somewhere, they get pegged back. So we started to look like we're going somewhere and then we'll lose a game and you're like, where'd that come from? So I need to kind of calm myself and just not... The expectations are still Champions League. I've always said that. And people will be like, what? How are you still saying Champions League? Because it's a long season. There's a long way to go. Nkunku's coming back. I think he's available for the Newcastle game, but we're going to probably leave him on the bench. Ease him back in. Badia Shaw could get his first start. Lavia is still to come back. So there's still players returning and the team doesn't look that bad. But they need to be consistent. They can't play well, pick up a point anymore, play well, lose the game, unlucky, need to win. Actually go on like a 5-6 winning game run. If they can do that, then they'll be right in it, because I've been in top 4 battles before. Nobody is serious for the season. Like, there's just so many points dropped. It's just constant. And you've seen Newcastle depleted with some injuries. Look, they're not so indestructible now. Tottenham, some injuries. Now people are looking at them thinking, oh, maybe they might go on a little bit of a run. So if everybody gets the injuries that Chelsea and United have had, even a half of 50% of those injuries, then we're going to see some shake-up, 100%.
And can Tottenham weather this storm? Madison's back when? January?
No, I think Madison's probably going to be more Feb. I mean, that winter
February?
break. It's a meniscus injury, so that's
bad.
Yeah, that's like 3-4 months. So I reckon he might be back after that little winter break, potentially, like last week of Jan. But I still think it's probably going to be more February. Van de Ven, they've said, is not as bad as they thought, thank God. So I think that potentially could be, instead of 3 months, more 6 weeks. So that's half. That might be a bit touch and go there if we see him over Christmas or again early Jan. I think also the suspension side of things hasn't really helped. Obviously Romero, he's still out for another 2. Doggy will come back. Basuma's got 1 match ban as well. So that's not injuries. That's just stupidity. So again, at the minute we're very, very weak. We've got Eric Dyer and we've had Ben Davies as a centre back partnership, and it's going to be that way.
What's your games coming up?
we've got Villa at home, which is tough. We've got Newcastle, we've got Brighton. All before Christmas, we've got West Ham. We've got a lot of difficult fixtures coming up. And again, the Chelsea game, it was there for the taking. We let ourselves down that game. You can't help the injuries, but you can help for sure going down to 9 men. And it was there for the taking. And we gave you that, and the confidence boost that you've got from it, you can see it against City. So for us, it's going to really just try and be about damage control and making it through this period, because we do have such a thin squad. And then hopefully in January they will find some money to bulk up the squad a little bit more.
Okay, well listen, we're going to be previewing all of those games for the weekend coming up on Thursday. Make sure you don't want to miss that. Also, want to get up to how many likes we got?
Not enough, Rob. We need 1,000 before we get into
Need
our
1,000
Opta
likes,
picks for
right?
the following games.
Over 7,000 people watching live. Thank you very much. And
You should just know, though, from now on, if you're going to come onto DR and watch a stream,
Like it.
what are we doing this for?
like it,
It's free. Just do it.
It's something to do with you.
Shut up and do it.
They see you and they dislike.
Well, no, the likes are going up, actually, so keep them coming. Let's go.
All right, the Opta picks, which you spoke about earlier on, right, where you can win how many dollars?
$7,500.
$7,500, right? We're going to be delving deeper into it on Thursday, but your man of the match is because you've got to pick the player of the match. Sorry, apologies. Player of the match for these following games. Who do you think they'll be? Luton versus Crystal Palace.
Ooh, I'm going for Eze.
He's back now, isn't he?
He's back. Back in full effect. He'll probably be the obvious choice for this game.
Yeah, I think you can't go against Eze.
So I'll go Eze all round.
Yeah, all round.
I think Eze. He was really good last game. I think that was his first
Won
scored
the
a start
penalty,
back,
yeah.
was it? Yeah, he was quality. So yeah.
Newcastle versus Chelsea.
Cole Palmer
No.
again.
Straight up.
Yeah.
Can't have another week where I'm talking
that
about
who you got
Cole
next?
Palmer every day.
Yeah, we got Newcastle away.
You're
next,
doing
so.
a match
Newcastle,
preview
then
with
Brighton,
Matty.
United.
Matty Renton.
He cussed me on the big six.
I'm not surprised. good
I was
lad.
shocked. I couldn't believe it. I was like, "What happened here, Oil brother?" But yeah, Cole Palmer's every game he's played well.
He's
Literally
the
every
obvious
single
one for
game.
Chelsea.
So,
No,
yeah.
I'm going
to
Jackson.
Newcastle.
Going
Jackson. Nicholas Jackson.
Action Jackson.
Yeah,
Wow.
listen, man, he scored again the other day.
Wow.
The people,
Barely.
he's stacking up goals, man.
Barely. It was it was a good shot.
Barely.
Nunez would have missed that.
Relax.
No, remember that Nunes one at Luton?
Nunez would have missed that.
Listen, I'm going to Newcastle player, man.
Yeah, because you're angry.
Let me get. To be fair, they're all injured.
They're all injured.
Trippier, Joe
I'll go
Linton.
Matt Ritchie. No. No, seriously.
Almiron, Joe Linton.
He's injured as well in the armour, isn't he?
Miggy.
He could be
They're
back.
literally
Him and
all
Isak
injured.
could be
Wilson
back.
are out.
Gordon
so-
injured?
Isak and
No, he's
Almiron
still-
apparently
he's
could be
Run
back.
around, didn't he?
But we need to wait
If
for the
you,
press conference.
I'll tell you to go. If you're going for a Newcastle player, go Willock.
He probably will start.
Good player.
Better than Havertz.
Bruno out. Go on, I'll
Probably
go.
right.
I'll go Anthony Gordon.
Oh, that's a good shout.
Yeah.
Ain't he out though, Gordon?
No, I think he's in.
Okay.
I think he's the only one not injured.
Okay, you go.
Yeah, Chelsea, man, they do well against these teams. The teams that are alright.
Away though, they've done awful
Away,
at
yeah.
Newcastle.
No, but lots of injuries,
Does
man.
part of you want to go Sterling?
Newcastle got a lot of injuries.
Go on.
Raheem.
Raheem.
They also got
Raheem
Champions
Sterling.
League.
That's what I mean. It's not the same Newcastle. We keep forgetting that.
Need to win
I'd
the
have gone
Champions
Sterling.
League
That
game
is
in
true.
They're
midweek.
nervous at the minute. They've got a lot of injuries. They're struggling.
Do you know what? Kieran Trippier I might go with actually.
Okay.
Is he fit?
Yeah, I'm going Raheem
Yeah,
Sterling.
I'll go Trips.
I'm going to go Anthony Gordon then, assuming he's fit.
Anthony Gordon. Brentford versus Arsenal.
Kai Havertz, left back.
I know. I saw. Did you see
Yeah,
the banger
saw
he
that.
scored as
Yeah.
well?
See the penalty game
What are
away.
you doing for us,
They
man?
also lost 3-2.
So you should play him at left back. He's tall. He can win headers.
Invert.
We might
How many more
invert
positions is this guy going to play, man?
No, he's
gonna be in
versatile.
goal
We
next.
told you he could play anywhere.
I swear the guy's going to be in goal next, man.
Brentford Arsenal.
Brian Mbeumo.
Same.
Yeah, I was
Definitely
literally
matching
just
it.
about to say that. But actually, I
Or
do
Wissa.
think Arsenal win that game. though.
Martinelli, I'm going.
Brentford are tough, you know.
And Buemo.
Martinelli.
Even that Carabao Cup game you had against them, I know obviously you changed the
1-0.
team a lot.
Yeah,
But in the second half, man, Brentford.
they put it on us, but we weathered it, man.
You did.
We weathered
You
it.
did weather
Martinelli.
Who takes
terrorised
their
them
long
last year.
throws? Is it Janssen?
They got about 3 players that takes them.
Pinnock and
Pinnock, yeah.
I do think
No,
Arsenal
Pinnock's on
win
the end
that,
of
though.
it.
Yeah, so do I.
All right.
Do you
A
think
lot-
Jesus
Who did
will
you
start
go
that
for?
game?
Jesus,
Jesus,
man?
no,
And Buemo.
Jesus can't start that game.
Do you know what? I'll
Do you
go
know what?
Trossard.
Well,
I'll
listen,
go
he
Trossard.
I don't know if he'll start, but if he's playing for Brazil on Wednesday,
You don't need to
he
start.
might play a part.
You got a few players coming back from
Although we
South
have got a
America.
Champions
Do you
League
think that will
game.
affect them? And you need to win that Champions
Yeah.
League game as well.
We did come back after the Champions League Sorry, after the last
international
break.
Yeah.
And what did we do? We
What
drew, I
was the
think.
score?
No.
Because you got who's it? Martinelli, Gabriel.
Martinelli,
Jesus.
Gabriel, Jesus,
I
all
think
playing for
Trossard.
Brazil. Trossard, it was like everyone's playing. But I fancy us in that game, and I think Martinelli. I'm going Martinelli. Spurs versus Aston Villa.
Ollie Watkins, mate.
That's a tough
Straight
one.
in.
There's so many you could pick from that.
Vicario will be in the tin in this game.
Vicario
On it.
is mine.
Yeah, I think it's probably going to have to be Vicario for me because I'm thinking about that Aston Villa.
They're not as
front
good away
line.
though,
I
Villa.
was just
are
about to say that. We're
Yeah,
giving
yeah,
too much
we've
props
got-
away
Not
from
as good
home.
away at
Yeah.
home.
Nottingham Forest
At home,
kicked them up.
injuries.
Yeah, remember
Alanga
they-
and all them man, give them man a
Guys,
run
you've
around.
literally got them like
Forest.
Diaby, Watkins,
But Tottenham got
Wendy,
injured.
Yeah,
everyone
but
against
clearly-
the defence of Eric Dyer and
That defence,
and Ben
I'm
Davies.
not backing that defence against
Yeah, I'm
Watkins.
going.
What, is that
I'm
defence
going
worse than
Watkins.
Nottingham Forest?
Yeah. Well, yeah.
No.
Nottingham Forest
Sorry.
humbled Villa easy. With like,
Sorry,
Yeah.
who
Eric
played
Dyer
Aurier?
and Ben Davies isn't
Uh,
a worse
who-
partnership.
But Nottingham Forest is more low block, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, Udogie will be back, but
Ange
They're gonna-
is high
actually
line.
with Ange
Got
high
to
line.
play a block.
But wait, they
Line
both
for
play high
life,
line
man.
though.
Yeah.
They play a stupid high line as well.
Vicario.
It's just going to be a game on
It's gonna
in
be
the
a great
centre
game.
circle.
I don't
that-
think
is that-
Spurs will get kicked
is that
up like
live?
everyone
Is that
thinks.
game
No, they won't get
No, I
kicked
don't think that.
Not at home.
No,
But-
it'll be a very good game.
I
I
just-
can see that being like a 2-2 or
just
something.
the, just the
I hear
defence
you.
Who's your
of
man
it.
in match, Matisse, in that one?
I'm going to go Watkins because that high line that Ange plays is crazy.
I'm going to say Son.
Okay. Player of the match final one, Fulham versus Wolves.
The Raul Jimenez derby.
Shout. He scored
Against
his
his old
first goal the
team.
other
He
day.
did. Do you know what? Go
At
on,
long
then.
last.
I'll give it to Raul.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
I'm going to go...
I'll tell you what, Sarabia came off the bench
Don't
against
always
us.
start, does
What
he?
a goal that
I
was.
think I might. Well, he might.
Might start
do.
now, innit?
What a
I'll
Who's
go
a
with
shoo-in
him.
for them?
He could barely get a game
Bang.
before that game.
I'm gonna,
Now
Yeah,
he's
I
a
mean,
star.
surely he's
score,
starting.
does he?
their midfielder that's balling out?
Who?
Wolves.
How comes you not
Lemina.
mention no Fulham players,
so.
man?
Nah, I'm not really.
Paulinho,
Bella Bellegarde.
Iwobi,
Oh yeah,
Dicko
That's
Overeat.
him. That's my guy. That's who I'm going to go with.
I'm gonna go with
I'm not
Lemina.
a massive fan of
Yeah.
what
he
Fulham
was
Mina's a
decent
good
against
shout.
us as well.
what
You know.
I've seen from Fulham this season. They're a bit
I'm
stable.
going
They are,
Willian,
Very
man. Willian.
Jeez.
Yeah,
What, your former Arsenal legend? Yeah.
Yeah, man. With a throw.
I'll
You
go
know what I
Harry
mean?
Wilson or him.
He's still playing good, you know.
Yeah, he has his
He's still
moments. He has his
playing. He's
moments.
still for a guy what
Play their
34.
cottage. Every time he gets on the ball, jinking. I'm just
Yeah,
like,
Bring
yeah.
David Luiz back, man. Get both of them.
He lost some weight in the summer as well because I seen him turn up.
Oh, is it?
He was, yeah,
He's got
little
restaurants. That's
empanadas
probably what
and
it is.
So don't forget
Cooking up.
how many dollars?
$7,500
Dollars.
USD. But
Up
in
for grabs.
translation, that's around about 7k.
The same
Up for
Paulinho
grabs. Get
system.
involved in the Optimax and Opta 5. Click the link in the description. Scan the QR code right now on the screen to join the DR Sports League. Where is everybody? I'm going to have a look where I am in that league, man.
It's not looking good for me.
Compete against
It's
us.
not looking good, bro.
Compete against us, which is light work, right? And other DR Sports subscribers. So get involved in that right now. QR code is on the screen, and you can click the link in the description, guys. I think we've reached the end of the
Couple
show
more super
today.
chats though, just
Yes,
before we
let's
leave.
have them.
Let's go into this one. Kingsley says, people haven't forgotten the government went through... Oh, yeah, we've had that one. A lot of chess, bro. You got sacked in the morning, says LFC bad. Cactus Mac says, wore a Spurs kit to the gym and couldn't lift anything.
Mad.
It's a good one. Gunner in the CDN Rockies. Where is that? The Rockies. Where is that?
Rockies,
Canadian.
Canada?
Yeah, so Canadian Gunner says, thoughts on Pep's brother buying shares in a team that City bought a few months later and an inflated price. I'm sure that'll be getting looked
Pep
into.
goes, there seems to be a bit of wrongdoing
Yeah,
there.
Girona, they're top of the table.
Girona.
They're a part of the City group. Hakeem W says, Ari injuries, the games are playing at a level and a pace now that the body just can't keep up. These players have been pushing themselves to the max since 7. Dr.
It's actually
Shuba,
true.
relegation of City will be a good thing for the Premier League because then it will not be a one-horse race, which has happened in the last 7 years. No, it hasn't. Relax yourself. Bring back old Barclays vibes. We've put up a fight. Can't.
you have
No?
a good couple of times.
Yeah, no.
Two clubs that
just
have won it
just
when
on our
Pep's
own.
here, yep.
Yep. Oh yeah, you have as well. To be fair.
Asterisk.
Yeah,
Asterisks,
asterisks.
yeah. Asterisks.
And we might have a COVID
We
asterisk,
put up a fight.
but it's not a corrupt asterisk. Yeah.
Shameless.
Charlton fan 18 says we obviously got too many We obviously got to play Man United away. We beat Brighton at home, one of the best days of my life. It means a lot for us. It should be 5 worst PL teams and EFL teams. I think he's talking about the Carabao. JC Florida, do you think PL games will be played in the US, just like the NFL have games in Germany and UK?
I do eventually feel...
Just like the Saudis will be in the Champions League.
I was over in the States last week. They love their football over there. I do think that is going to happen one day. I don't know when, because we'll meet a lot of resistance, but I can see a game happening over
West
there.
Ham, Luton away in Miami.
Points would be for that one.
Just imagine that.
I can't see it.
I think the loyalty points would be for that one.
I can see it happening. You know, when you've been over there pre-season, you know, me and him was the Arsenal Man United game.
Every pre-season,
they could have sold that game out 10 times, man. There was an 80,000 stadium, absolutely.
You might as well
packed.
just make that the first game of the Prem. Just have it there.
You could play
Because you're already there for
No,
play
play
like
the Community Shield there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
curtain
I
raiser.
The Community Shield.
Yeah.
I actually wouldn't mind that. Community Shield over. That's all I'm getting.
what about a cup final there? I mean,
Nah.
you couldn't.
Maybe the League Cup.
We're not even saying that we
League
want
Cup,
this,
I'm
by
not-
the
not
way.
so
Let's
fussed
just-
on
League Cup.
The FA
We don't
Cup's
want
got to
this.
be at
I'm
Wembley.
not saying.
But
I'm not
League Cup-
saying.
I don't want
I
this.
just do
I
think.
don't want
League
it.
Cup.
I do see it being inevitable.
What, you want to do fan
Genuinely,
camps?
give them the League Cup
What,
final
You're
and
going to
give
pay
them.
for all the cameramen to go and do fan camps, yeah?
I do. Listen, it's just the same as going to Baku, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Give them-
about the same flight.
Give them the League Cup final and the Community Shield. That's it. No Premier League games and no FA.
Port Vale in the final.
Maybe
Can you
that's-
imagine?
Miami.
That would be unbelievable.
Robbie Williams
Maybe that's
would love
something
it.
for the League
and
Cup.
it would actually like raise the profile of the League Cup as well.
Isn't it?
So
Maybe
there you
that's
go.
something for the League Cup.
Couple more to get through. Oh, hi, Matt says, in France, we got rid of the League Cup. We also reduced the league to 18 teams. Not for me to say what you should do, but that makes a difference. Sean says, so Man City have 8 first-team players flown home because of injury. Let's see if they play. That's a great shout, actually. Pep going on like everyone's injured. I bet they'll all be starting on Saturday, though. Levi says, United's injuries, players on the bench aren't able to play the way Ten Hag would want, so had to push back implementing his style of play this season. Yeah, sure. The Game says, Chelsea are only relevant since 2004 because a criminal pumped money into them and cheated their way to the top. They will always be a nothing club, says The Game. Let us know if there's a new album dropping soon. Marco says, my brother Flex, please stop lowering your standards because you've won it all.
How am I lowering my standards?
I don't know.
By saying, oh, it's okay
You
to
said
finish
15th,
like if we have to reset.
Yeah.
We've got to be realistic, mate.
Got to be real this season. This season.
And that's your lot. Let's get up to 2,000 likes before we end the stream.
Well, we are going to end the stream right now. Unfortunately, we've come to the end of the show.
Keep it
Don't
coming.
forget, we are going to be back on Thursday when we're going to be previewing. The Premier League is going to be back. You know what, guys? We haven't even spoken about the game tonight. England. You bothered?
No.
England versus North
touching wood
Macedonia.
for no injuries on
The
Trent.
Malta game was unbelievable.
If you
That
watch that,
game was shocking.
Gripping game.
it was
Absolutely.
on 2.5 hours of life or just
Honestly.
never get back.
And then the one good moment in the game, right? Declan Rice's goal. They disallowed it with VAR. Right?
It actually
Honestly,
came off Kane, that one.
That flick that Wayne Rooney did was just incredible.
Jeff Hurst, what a finish, mate.
I
Don't
did like
forget,
I did like the
but that
Bake Off
game is on
segment in the
tonight.
build-up,
don't
though.
forget,
I like that.
Saturday morning, live watch along for Man City versus Arsenal. You'll have myself, Kennedy.
Man City versus Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Sorry,
mate.
what am I on about?
Arsenal.
Yeah, Man City
Liverpool.
over
Double
Liverpool.
team.
Sorry,
You okay,
man.
mate?
Relax. I do support Liverpool, by the way. And then straight after that, the Saturday football show.
Yeah.
So it'll be a good one on
Nice.
Saturday.
Looking forward to that. Well, guys, thanks for watching the show. Let's me and Abby just hold this up again. As
3,
we
2, 1.
Relegate the Blues.
relegate the Blues. Relegate the Blues. Send them down.
All Blues. We don't discriminate. All Blues. Get rid of Brighton as well whilst you're at it. Yeah? Peterborough United. Who else is...